almost exactly in time. But not done with my preparation. As usual. And what did I want to... yeah, no, I know. We're getting there. Okay, that's the one. And we hide it well, but we come back to it. Okay. Good morning in the morning. Yeah, Veggie Herbert, very good that you notice that I updated my schedule. Or, in fact, Andreas did. What more did I want to do? I had a few things. Okay, our record has improved with yesterday's results. And of course we have a look at that, and we look at the quality and the things. Actually, I'm not sure what I said, how much time we have today, because I remember something when I was half asleep that I said I just can do it 1 hour. I can't remember. I think those were the two, and these two we had yesterday. And yeah, I was wrong with the dates. I don't know what I did wrong there, but they before that had been entered as 19th of July. But I changed that. Anyway, the question was, were we on the good side or not? And actually in the game Hammarby against Göteborg, I took it down as a bad one. But in fact, it's not even true. I mean, these minus 0.39, they measure how far I had been away from my own prediction. Comparing these two values, which were pretty similar, with the one they played at, with the level they played at. But, and here I was minus 0.39, but as we had some huge margin in this one, we could also, and we had the result on our side, right? Göteborg drew the game, but did they draw it in the last minute? Who scored the goal in the last minute? In this one? Well, anyway, I'm gonna move this to neutral. I mean, evaluation was not perfect, but we had half a goal. We brought that one home. Huge margin here. No, we had plus 0.75. So we could actually count it even as a good one, because there's enough space between this, which is 0.45 goals. Okay, they were worse, but we did have 0.75. Here, this was the line. So we actually could count it a good one. But I'm not sure. We leave it as neutral. I mean, there was a last minute goal. Was it in the... Was it Göteborg who scored? Who could tell me? Find it out. Anyway, we won them both. In Örebro, we did have the right side, I'm sure. What does it say here? Plus 0.24. We did have Örebro. They were the better side. I expected them to be something between 0.1 and 0.14 goals better. And, well, Mjällby played more or less their level, but Örebro even better. And we won the game. I mean, this would also count a bit, because Örebro won the game 3-1. So we won these more or less 2 units, 2.04 units. We have a very, very fair quality distribution. And I always count them the same way. I did have Göteborg as a bad one, because my own evaluation I missed by some margin, but market was even further away. So we could even count it a good one. But this doesn't seem to matter too much at the moment. Especially we should always note that we are winning with the good bets, 52-32. They are in the majority, and they have plus 20, which is not quite what we get back, because there's still market margin. And those minus 14 here, of course, we would like to avoid them, but as long as we have this quality, which is exactly 66.66, you see that 2/3 are good ones, 1/3 are bad ones. The neutral ones, well, we counted them neutral. I could have evaluated them. Sometimes we had some bets in we couldn't fully evaluate, so I rather stopped that or didn't do it. But it doesn't matter too much. We are going okay. We are doing okay. And of course, this is not something you can call winnings, but what else what would people expect? I mean, you still have the fair chance to cancel this one and bet a bit more on that one, in which case you may even improve on that record. I mean, this is a purely, more or less, a computer record, so to say, 1 unit per bet. Of course, you are still then luck dependent in some sense, because you could go big on the one you lose and have a small one on the other one, which is considered not so good. And of course, this can happen, but of course the chances would be better to improve on that record. And one more thing, I mean, as I explained yesterday in the German stream, that we added some new leagues which we are not that familiar with and maybe never will be. Well, you start to learn the names and understand where they play and understand about their size. So maybe you always have the chance to improve there, right? But as soon as the bigger leagues we are usually into start again, maybe we forget about that one. I'm not sure. I mean, how would I handle all those leagues when they are all playing? I try my best with that and see how we maybe even some job sharing, more or less. Other people can assist, or even some new inventions I'm thinking about that you may be able to access even this or build up your own surrounding. Something we discussed yesterday. But for now, we leave it as is. We go ahead and for this week or today, we simply look at the matches that are coming up midweek. And there is Switzerland playing once again, and we're not that keen on this league anymore. I mean, first of all, we have this Zurich problem. That they have to play with their youth team or whatever. It is pretty irregular, and market not even offering any prices on that, right? So I don't know how to, because I got a weekly. I mean, yeah, well, you people may know Excel a lot better than me. Yeah, we had been doing okay. Yeah, well, I mean, with in Sweden, of course, we are happy with that. Because all the other leagues in Japan, we did have this good quality. Also in that one match day, the first one when I started and said, okay, we just gonna write them down and not going to evaluate them. There we had been doing okay too, with the quality, not with the result. And that's a bit curious, but what can we do? At the moment, we got this system, we stick to it, and we simply have a look. And pick the ones we like. And wait for the results. Yeah, I'm a bit confused, obviously, because well, I've written down some bets. If I like them or not, we're gonna compare and we're gonna have a look. But maybe you also have an idea of these leagues, or yeah, well, what they are playing for and so on. So we can still check and we can still let go. Yeah, well, this is what I mean, that I'm not fully prepared. As I said, you may know Excel a lot better and all the possibilities. How to get that regularly done, because I'm creating new files more or less, and then the format is lost again, or at least this screen format here. I mean, now, okay, we have the game Thun against Servette. And Thun had really been doing well recently. And Servette, they drew with Basel 2-2, which we had bet on, but they didn't play so well. But, I mean, it wasn't terrible either, but Basel were the better side. And okay, here we see these 10 points different. They played better and they won more, so Basel are the better side. But Thun, okay, they are still in trouble, of course. Xamax also won. Did they win? I think they won, yes, and played a very good game. So they are still pushing. And so Thun are in some urgent need still. I mean, urgent. What is urgent? They play their level. 32 points. I had expected 32. They played for, and 31.07. That's what they should have had. But of course, we can look at the development as well. Just for the fun of it. Yeah, I agree, this doesn't look so nice. What is this here? 29, 32? Oh, those are the points they won, right? Did something change in this diagram? In this graph? I don't know. Well, anyway, they actually didn't play so well. So this is actually encouraging me a bit. Because they had been playing okay here. Didn't get the results. From then on, their efforts went down. While results obviously grew better. But they didn't really deserve it. Or they said, okay, we're gonna for the dirty wins. Which they may have done, but I still wouldn't wish so much for a side, and I would wish, of course, that this approach doesn't work out. If it does, it's a bit sad for the game of football, but well, I would still say we go against that. So we would rather trust those stats and the things like we would go with a better side if they are better. Of course, if we get a good handicap and so on, we also take the outsider happily. But we see here that Servette actually are playing well. Still, I mean, this game against Basel was maybe a worse one. They get what they deserve, more or less, and they are better than average. They are pretty good. I mean, they also improved. Looking at the red one, that one is going up here. It's going up. Maybe if it went down a bit, it still goes along with the result. They are good. Home advantage, by the way, we can of course check as well. I actually can't check it here, which is a bit sad because as I said, I would like to have all the relevant table stats and so on, whatever I need for one game at one glance. It's not the case. Home advantage has been okay, but I don't have the difference between before and after the lockdown. But anyway, they are 15 points better in the table, more or less. I mean, 14 points here, 15 points. They played better. Here it's just 12, but it's thanks to Servette playing so well. So actually, and what are they playing for? I mean, Servette also got something to defend here, I'm pretty sure. Or, well, it's still 4 games to go, so we shouldn't worry too much about what they need or what they are trying for. So I would confirm this one, although it's not a great one, of course. But I understand market. Thun won a couple of games and now they think they are good, which they aren't. I mean, what we saw, and as far as we can judge that. So I got Servette, draw no bet, 1.78. You get something similar. Otherwise, I stick to that. Who's giving me not just the price, but also the bet? We got the bet. Oh, it's 1.74. So it went down again, but we take that one down. I got 174 here. 169 really is a bit too low. I mean, I could type it in here. You know how much I hate abbreviations, but I couldn't do the what did you say? The tick. Couldn't tick it. I see here 174. I mean, do I have that here to make it visible? I thought I had. Once again, it doesn't show this window, although it shows me here. It doesn't show the window. Why? I can see it. Or is it behind something? Oh man! Ah, here it is. So in fact, we can see the 174, right? There is a Wett 174 here. I mean, I can see it. So I write down 1.74 for the Wett, but I hope for someone to collect those bets and tell me later. Okay, the next one would be how. I mean, there's very, very small indication on Xamax. Do we have that on Thursday? And it is +1 to 12. I mean, we see here that Xamax are actually playing well. They are in fact even playing better than Thun and Sion, which is a bit encouraging for me to go for the bet. I mean, of course, young boys, they are top now, they are the best, okay, by pretty far. They may win the title and so on. And it's pretty important for them because St. Gallen lost very unluckily, as we saw, with 4.11 goals. They should have scored in Thun, but they lost. So it's important, but it's also important for Xamax, right? And they had been playing okay. And we can even compare it here. Except that it's just terribly slow, which is Xamax, right? And okay, we see that the efforts are going okay recently. Results also a bit better. This was the last win, but of course it's still awful, some gap between that. But if we see the red one above the blue one, it would still tell us, well, they didn't disappoint with their efforts, right? They played okay. And if you watch the general development in red, it is simply okay. They didn't get the results, which is fine, can happen, but there's still time, so no worries with that. I mean, taking Xamax, right? Home advantage we checked was okay, although we went for the away side in the other bet. We can, of course, as well have a look at Xamax, which can impossibly reveal something very surprising. They are playing okay, although, I mean, they are getting the results more or less. They are playing better than the results, but not quite as good as expected. This also went down, the blue one, which means computer noticed that they are not playing so well, so it adjusted slowly but surely their expectancies, which only makes sense to, well, what I would like to find out or get is decent figures. If someone would have pre-season made a prediction that was 2.5 points, most likely, or even a bit more, what they achieved last season. So they may have had something like 76, no more than that, 36 games. That would be 90 points or even more, but something like that. But it went down, so this is a proper adjustment. But of course, there's nothing spectacular we could expect here. They play a very good level, They play a bit better than results. They play a bit worse than expected all the time, which is nothing too serious. But we get +1. I mean, that's why, and a computer likes it, and we are quite fine with that. So, but of course there's no margin. But now we can compare as a last, in the last step more or less, we can compare what new system thinks about it compared to the old one. Here we see 1.05 goals in the new system, and here it's 1.14. So the new system sees a bit less of a difference between them. So the 2.08 we have is already slightly indicated, but the other one even likes it a bit more. I mean, how can we be this proud of such a bet? It's just, it's indicated, we can confirm it here, not much of a margin. And yeah, I mean, young boys need a win, we know that, but Xamax as well, so it is competitive, it is a regular game. And Xamax had been playing well. So we got all the reasons, and that's why we can do it, we don't have to. We have an under here, and I mean, now I'm checking here first to see the old and new more or less agree on the total goals in the Luzern-Sion game. I mean, take down the Xamax, right? I didn't type it in, I'm waiting for you to do so. Xamax +1, it is, yes, it is a bet. It is +1, 212, it is still the same price. I mean, you can check it here, see it here, witness it here. This is the price. Now it's highlighted here, 212. Luzern against Sion, and we have an under indication, and this one is confirmed by the goal performance, and we can of course check it here, but not these two values, or these, let's make it 6 values. Goals for expected, goals for should. This is slightly under in some sense. Here is slightly over. Okay, but there had not been the goals. So if the under, it may be they hadn't been there for some reason. And in Sion, if Sion are playing, I got my pocket calculator ready. Hang on, I have to do this call. 84, who's got a pocket calculator? And 85?
Moin, Paulsen.
Ja, ich bin im Stream. Ah. Ja, komm vorbei, aber ich bin hier im Stream, weißt du? Okay, komm einfach, klingle. Okay, danke, ciao. 84, 85, that's 169. 169 divided by 63. .68. So this is still very similar to the ones, and it would still be indicated. So why would we complain then? I can give you the true price for an under if 268 were the proper expectancies. That's under. It's 2.01. Oh, sadly. Why? Huh? 2.75 is the line. Sorry, that's 179. That is of course confirming it. I mean, the line is 2.75, I guess. Okay. +1, 212. Very good. And Luzern against Sion under. I need to improve on that system here, because this scrolling around, back and forth, jumping here and there. I mean, what I'm trying to do right now, obviously, is to work out the bets together with you. It's 1.92. I mean, we can look at the table needs. Of course, here it may look a bit different because Luzern, well, who can tell me the rules? I'm not that familiar and not that keen on that because there's always cup games and who's still in or won the cup or I don't know. I'm not checking that. I'm looking for proper competition and not things like that. But what I would say is Sion, of course, are not terrible with a draw. Xamax need to win first. They play young boys and so on. And of course, Luzern, yeah, well, they've been playing under all season. But the under went up, which means to me, people think, okay, we're coming down to the closing stage, so maybe some more goals. But if you saw the Spanish results, who proposed that to go for over? We didn't have any goals, right? In Spain, for example. Here I see the La Liga Due. Okay, Las Palmas 5-1. Okay, fine, 1 over. Alcorcón 2-0. Girona under. Almeria Malaga 0-0. I got the result service here, right? Where's our result service? I mean, this is the last match day. Maybe can't see it so well. Okay, Almeria 0-0, Lugo Mirandes 2-1. This one. So this is maybe partly an over. Okay, 2-2, over under. Cadiz 0-1, under 3-2 under. Elche 2-1, over 3-3. 2-1, 1-2. Okay, so it's in the end maybe 6-4. But if you count the goals, 4, 7, 10, 13, 14, 17, 19, okay, 25 in 10, right? It's just a very regular average. Just to mention, I mean, I noticed these things, and in Germany we did have some more goals, fine, but it was not, well, anyway. Xamax under? Well, actually I had been talking about Luzern under, but Xamax, you're right, is also an under, but this is very slightly, because the goal performance is also a bit over. But we can, okay, I would like to take down the Luzern under, which is not a great one, of course, any such bets that we can be proud of. But we are actually talking about a league that I would rather skip also, right? Because, 4 games to go, but we have this Zurich irregular, and it's just 5 games, and I prefer mid-season or early season, first half of the season. I prefer that. For the Kaiser. For the Kaiser. I don't know what that means. Salvo. Because we are Germans. Okay, we have the under in Luzern, and we also have an under in Xamax against Young Boys, which goes okay with the side. We can say Xamax actually need wins, Young Boys need wins, but the line is 3.25. We have an overperformance. Write it down or skip it, I don't know. I don't want that, really. Considering those needs. There's still this one error here. You see that it comes up with FC Zurich, right? Because they are not playing anymore, and then it's inventing some fancy figures here. They are not right. That's why we have such a huge gap between this and this. Anyway, I'm not correcting this now. We move on. We have the Luzern under. Xamax is not a proper under, really. Okay, the goals they conceded are about right. The ones they scored, that's where they are a bit short. Also, this is true for Young Boys, but they conceded a bit too many. Well, anyway, they also had, their defensive was not so good. 32.99 expected, and they should have had 36, and they conceded 40. That's the reason why they are below here, 64, instead of those expected, all the ones they should have won. It's not such a nice under. Okay, we move on to Sweden now, and please, this is something, of course, it is what I would like to see. We like to see regular football in the middle of the season, more or less. But results had been okay, had been very good, okay, but we shouldn't rely on that. But was it what I wanted to show here? No. But the computer has an inclination here. It always favors the home sides, and it always favors the over. And I'd been talking about this before the last match day already. And is it match day 10? No. Sorry, I mean it is match day 10, but this is not the one you see here, right? Ah, okay. But this is still useful if you look at that. Okay? We have a quick look at that. Because I actually looked here, that's why this is open, and it's useful. Because this is what I was studying when I was talking about or thinking about the games that are coming up. I mean, we did see 28 goals. I was predicting before that match day. It was the first time that we've done that, Swedish League. Okay. And I was predicting, because of this somewhat weird difference between goals expected and goals should, and so on. I had been talking about that, but maybe I should still show it here. How well can you see that? I mean, okay. I mean, we had this expected average, real expected and should average in this league, and this had been confusing me a bit. And the values had been here 2.42 last week, here 2.9, and here something like 2.76. Can you remember? And there I was a bit confused, and I was worried, you can even say, right? Because you say, oh, wait, what is going wrong with those figures here? And then I was arguing, the computer is gonna show us some overs. We had the Sirius over, we had Varberg was even in brackets and over. Well, I mean, they played 2-2, but if you would wish to witness that, what I've written down here, where is it? Hang on. Varberg, where is the one? Varberg? No, I can't see that, right? Who can see that? That's my... But there's the over at least, you can see here. Where's my finger? Here's the over in brackets. And here's the game. Go this way. Go this way. Varberg against Ike. I can see it. There's the over. I mean, it was another over that we didn't go for, I think. Then was the Malmö Kalmar, also an over. I don't even remember the result, but we can easily look it up. I was predicting it was a 2-1, so that was enough to beat the line, easily enough. I mean, it's the same thing here. I try again. Malmö against Kalmar. There you see the game. Now we go over here and over in brackets. Okay, with a question mark. There's the over and I. Okay, and that was a 2-1 because line was 2.5 and you could have spotted there as well. So we even skipped 2 overs that were possible. And in the other games we did have a couple of overs that actually did go well. We had the Sirius over, which was a 4-2. We had the Elfsborg Djurgården over. We lost that, but we did see the chances. Effort over results. Here, minus 0.06 is slightly under, but we had some high expectancies, so the over had been in fact confirmed, but considered neutral. I don't know. But then we had Östersund over, which was also an over, which was also fine with the 3.01 goals that should have been. And okay, so we did go for 3. We had a record of 2-1, which is always fine. And we had 2 more over indications. Slightly indicated, and maybe for some reason we skipped it. I see it here that actually indication is fine. It's everything fine. We checked something with the goals they should have had also. Anyway, we can be. I mean, we would have had 5 overs. Let's stick to the 3. 2-1 result with 3 actually good evaluations. So we can't complain in that sense for a start. I was predicting it. We are going to have the over. I couldn't see such good reason why the goals had not been coming, because we know the real goal average. But if there's expected these and should these, then there's no good reason for the goals not to come, right? And they did come. And they moved this average from 2.42 up to 2.54. So it was massive. I mean, 28 goals in 8 games. That's 3.5 per game. Anyway, not argue too much about it. But we also had the home sides prevailing. I mean, we did have a pretty decent home advantage in Sweden. Also Norway, which, would you say it's a surprise or it's regular? I don't know, but the home advantage had been a bit bigger than in Germany or the common leagues we know, which of course then is my parameter settings. What else could I do, right? Because I look at the past results and then I set up the parameters. Of course, you can take a couple of more seasons in, but I did have a look at 2015, 2014 when I still had this league, and again, another phone call. And I don't know what to do. It's 3 phone calls now. Okay, we did have... Now we did have the absence of spectators, which we wouldn't be so sure. I was arguing before the restart. I was arguing in favor of not the home advantage, because I'm arguing against the home advantage, but I was arguing in favor of the home advantage staying more or less the same, because it's not dependent on the spectators anymore. And I wasn't right, okay? But recently, it re-established somehow. Last weekend it was again away sides prevailing or winning by a couple of goals, but it was very even, the expectancies for home and away. And so if they win by 5 goals instead of it being even, it still is a well, regular result in some sense. Of course, you can always say, well, if the home sides are doing better, if the away sides are doing better, you should be careful with the home advantage. But we did have it, we did see it here. I mean, I can look it up, what it actually is, which you may not be able to witness, or I would have to show you this window, but I'm looking at the home advantage. Okay, it is about as expected. Home sides won by 103-80, 23 goals. Expected had been 114-90. Of course, we are still those 20 goals more or less short, which you see here because this is below this and so on. But it still is in the difference. It is simply okay. They won. They scored as many goals more as I expected. So nothing wrong with the home advantage or with the settings there. Nothing that we can witness right now. So if the computer likes the home sides, it is, I do not like this so much, of course, because I would say, well, usually market does not react so much to this. After restarts, the home advantage is going down anyway. And I also see the phenomena that home sides are usually going forward, and this doesn't do so well these days because you rather defend and wait for the breaks, the chances on the break. And this is the way they are playing. But if we have a regular home advantage here, established last season and now confirmed again, then, well, why should I mind then? This is a general, some general thoughts on that. But I wouldn't be surprised then if if the home sides are not going to win. Because I would say, well, okay, I can well accept that. I can expect it and I can accept it as well. But right now there's no reason. So if we would, do we jump the train or we leave the train or whatever? I mean, as long as it's going okay, why should you, right? No, we are on a good roll. It's we are moving really fast with our train. No, we rather jump off. Why would you do that? I mean, you would hurt even more or worse. Anyway, it's not such a great picture I'm presenting you here. We have home side indications, and you can think about it, and we can look at every single game, of course, which may still be special, confirm it, or we dislike it, or we say, well, why would you, or things like that. But at the moment, I can't see the reason, or I've written them down, and I was arguing, and this is actually how deep you have to go. Well, is it deep? I don't know, but anyway. Now we'll look at the games and the indications, and if you follow these thoughts, maybe in the long run, we are getting decent results, but which I can't promise, of course, by any means. Okay, now we look at the games themselves, and yeah, this is, I don't know how to prepare that any better, or I would know, but it takes some time. Most likely, did I look here? Yes, I did. Okay, Djurgården, actually no indication. Or the new system, I think, would even like Djurgården. Do you see that? Line is 1.25, and the old system says 1.4 goals difference, which is not enough for an indication, but the new system would say 1.57 or so, which would just be enough, but we don't want that anyway. Now we got Häcken against AEK, and here we see that the old system, okay, says they are regular favorite. The new system favors the home side a bit more. Do we agree to that? I mean, we got Häcken. Okay, we look at the this team's development here. Which are the sites we're looking at? Once again, it's Häcken, Eik. Are Häcken playing okay? What are Eik doing? Okay. I mean, it's just 2 points difference. They got all these draws. I expected them, well, both in some sense to be a bit better, because this, what I expected, is above what they should have had. Eik are lacking still this 1 point or up to 2 points, and Häcken, well, they are just regular. The goals they scored are pretty good, but of course they didn't deserve it. And actually they played a bit worse than that. And Eik, of course, they have still the better name, no doubt. Well, they are pretty similar, that's all. And you could have a look at last season's table, but Eik are struggling. Did I compare this with to? Well, there are many such sites which are from the capital also, but they never start going. It is some expectations also that the spectators may have also, or that they think they should be a bit bigger. We actually got Djurgården as well from Stockholm, but okay, they are struggling. But do not argue too much about this rubbish. We got our figures here, and we do have a line, and the line is minus 0.25, which is well, it is pretty much the regular line. As we just saw, home sides won by 1.104 to 80. It's pretty close to what we should say. It is a quarter of a goal, right? Or is it more? I mean, we have to take the difference and divide it by the number of games played. 24 and 72. That is 1/3 of a goal. That's 0.33 goals. Okay, let's put that right, at least. Sorry, well, what is this setup? I'm have to prepare here. Djurgården, Norrköping, Häcken. Okay, now it's 1.86. It even went down very slightly, but this does not sound to me like a... Oh, what did I say? Yeah, okay. Weekend they are playing IFK Göteborg, which are also a bit bigger of a side in some sense. Okay, I'm not really proud of this one. Computer likes it, so write it down or leave it, but I'm only going to evaluate it if it's written down here. Do we like that? I mean, minus 0.25 and 1.86 right now the price. Are they really better? Very, very slightly. Of course, we did not count the opponents here. Not a great one. Okay. Helsingborg against Örebro. I mean, maybe we find a better one, or I don't know. If you type it in, it's fine. If you don't, it's also fine. I would consider you do not like it. Now we get Helsingborg against Örebro. Okay. Now we compare these two. I mean, if here is a low expectancy, it means in some sense that I possibly underrated them, or they did have some good opponents, because this is one of the lowest values here, right? It is with Helsingborg together, it is the lowest, even Falkenberg's. But it can be because they had better opposition. If you played 9 games, this can happen. Of course, I could look this up as well, if you wish to know. But they played a bit better. But I saw them more or less on the same level, and actually they both played a bit better, but Helsingborg, in fact, played a bit more better. This is what I would consider. And then I would say maybe I mean, we talked about the home advantage already, but Helsingborg may still be the clearly the side with a clearly higher reputation in some sense, right? And who did they play? Okay, well, at least Helsingborg are 4 games unbeaten now, which I see now. They won at home over Eik, and they drew 3 times on the road, which was in Djurgården, which was in Göteborg, and now they drew in Falkenberg, which of course not great because they are low. But if you see here, Falkenberg are no worse than the others. So actually it's 4 decent results in a row. But okay, Örebro lost away, 1 at home, lost away, 1 at home. Okay, so we could say at least the away shape is on our side. He lost in Sirius and Norrköping, top side here. Okay, but well, it's another one. It is not great, but new system would confirm it and would in fact like it a bit better. This is 1.57, 1.11 and 1.44, 1.07, so just a little bit more, but no margin, no real margin. Price similar to Häcken. It is, well, okay, you can skip all these if you do not like a single one, as by the looks of it. Okay, Malmö against Hammarby. Maybe we come to terms with this one. I mean, the price that I have here on Helsingborg is 1.95. We had 186 on Häcken. Okay, Malmö against Hammarby. We are going to have a look at this one. Malmö against Hammarby. I mean, markets seems to claim that Hammarby are good, and well, we would not even fully disagree. They are good, but we still got Malmö here, right? And Malmö are, well, not top favorites. Who's I mean, there's Djurgården as well, and maybe, well, Norrköping are a bit more of a surprise, which are also somehow in the mix. Otherwise, okay, I have to open the door. I mean, okay, Malmö for me would be top favorites. But not by miles. I mean, they are, well, Djurgården, well, what? Of course, with being 3 points better now, it should be Malmö, but they are one level. Okay, not so much of a difference between these. But we were talking about Malmö against Hammarby right now. Ja. Verzeihung. Ich schätze mal, Sie haben... Verzeihung. Yeah, I have to stop the stream. Sorry for that. But I'm coming back in a couple of minutes, I hope. Okay? Sorry for that. I have to leave.